Good afternoon, Sam and Emma. This is John from San Antonio.
John, we got confused. Yesterday was Monday, but we did the news on that day, and so I apologize. All right. So
okay.
Let's go. We're going.
All right.
Sorry.
So for the last time before the election, I'll appearing on the Letter Hacks YouTube show tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
Sometimes that gets started late, right?
No, I mean, not really. No.
Well, I'm just trying to find. Okay. All right, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you about how awful the Supreme Court is, but earlier in the show, you said that you were talking about Harper versus Moore, and they rejected the independent legislature theory in June of 2023. So I'm not really sure. You're saying that Trump is rejiggering that up again?
No. Well, first of all, they just took another case that hinges on that theory. We don't know how they're going to resolve it, but my argument is that the reason why he's talking about Pennsylvania is they're going to be throwing up these cases. If it gets rejected from the Supreme Court, it gets rejected. The point is they want there to feel like there is contention now in Pennsylvania so that you don't have to build up the predicate. This is called laying the groundwork. And they're tilling the ground. They're loosening the soil so that when people hear there was a problem in Pennsylvania, people respond with, I heard about that before the election. I don't know the specifics, but yes, I have a general sense there was something wrong in Pennsylvania.
Okay, it just seems very strange that a decision was made, less than a year and a half ago that they would actually be taking up the exact same case.
I don't know if it's the exact same case, but it is one that hinges upon that same theory, and it is a little bit scary.
Well, why would they reject it? Why would they reject it a year and a half ago and state specifically that that's not the case, and then reverse that a year and a half later?
Well, you tell me.
Okay, so one thing that Harper versus Moore did do is that they said that the state Supreme Courts cannot make a law that, or not a law, that make a decision that says that the gerrymandering in federal cases can be outlawed. And so since that actually happened, there are 3 seats that will flip to Republicans in the House races. And so those seats are the 6th district, the 13th district, and the 14th district, and they're all like plus 14 to plus 16 Trump districts. And also the Democrats gained seats in Alabama's 2nd district and Louisiana's 6th district. So essentially, the Supreme Court gave a +1 advantage to the Republicans, which will take away the advantage of winning the Santos seats. So it'll be actually at 222-213, which was the exact result from the 222 election, moving backwards. Also, I'd like to disagree with you, about the state. I mean, you can give money to state, races if you want. I mean, that's your choice. But as far as the Senate, I would not give money to any Senate races. I think that the Senate is gone. It's another point you can make is, well, if the Senate's gone, then there's not going to be any trifecta, and so it won't matter. And so that's kind of a valid argument. But I think it's so far gone to where if you look at the House. Right now, I talked about this last week rather. Out of the 6 aggregators who have House seats, make picks in the House, 3 of them pick the Democrats, 3 of them pick the Republicans. I personally have the Democrats winning 218 to 217, which were the exact results of the 1916 House elections. And so
you don't think Dan Osborne has a chance?
I mean, he might have a chance. I don't think he's going to win, no. And I also don't think there's any guarantee that he's going to caucus with Democrats.
John, it'll be fun to talk to you on election night because I really don't share your assessment of this.
Ooh.
I think that we're looking at a much more positive situation for the Democrats than these national polls are indicating right now. Especially in this final week here. Like, I just saw that Galejo was saying that he feels like the ground game is so good compared to Trump in Arizona that he feels good about Harris winning Arizona. I don't know if I feel that way. But if that's the national environment, like, I don't share your pessimism. I really don't.
Well, this is great. We have two contrasting visions of what's going to happen. What do you think the Senate is going to end up being, John? Or do you want to wait until next Tuesday to say this?
No, I mean, I just can't see Osborne winning. I mean, it's just too much of a red
Tester
state.
gone?
I mean, it's so dumb. Yeah, I mean, there's a possibility. I'd give him about a 15% possibility. I'd give Allred about the same thing, 15%. I mean, it's just. Yeah, I mean, 538 just came out with their forecast that gives Republicans an 89% chance. Nobody, even like Logan Phillips, who is the most Democratic, forecaster, who had the best record in 2022. He doesn't have them even being close. I mean, and so I mean, it just seems like a real kind of a fantasy. I mean, occasionally people do win races there's a 15% chance. It's extremely rare.
But what about?
Yeah, I mean,
but what about 2022? What I mean, this is.
Yeah, I mean, 2022. That is a completely different electorate.
Understood.
I mean, you can't even compare the 2 years. I mean, you're dealing with at least 20% more of more voters, and also you're dealing with all of these low propensity voters.
Right.
You don't know how they're going to turn out. I mean, I will acknowledge that it's much harder to make predictions in presidential years, especially in the last two presidential years. But I mean, also, like what you were talking about yesterday, as far as all you talked about was the Republicans and their take on why Democrats answered phones, and that's why and Republicans didn't, and that's why everything was closer. But there's another. Like APOR, which is, the American Association of Pollsters, they have their convention, and they do, every year, they make an evaluation. And what you didn't mention was that Republicans did not answer phones because they don't want to, they think that all pollsters are like part of, quote unquote, fake news.
Right.
And so I don't think that's changed
but
very
that's
much.
Baked in. But that was the secondary theory that I said that the pollsters have run with, which is that there's a baked into the cake hidden Trump support that they have tilted their polls towards in this regard. So I didn't say it in the exact phrase that you're saying.
I don't think they've tilted their polls in any way. Objective.
They did in October 2022. They did when this flood of Republican pollsters came into the fray. The national, supposedly nonpartisan aggregators hedged a little bit and moved in October the national environment towards a more Republican-friendly one. Like, I just feel like I'm a little more cynical about the industry and what their incentives are right now.
Well, I don't think that you really talked about, how difficult it actually is to actually get a sample size for a poll. Like y'all were talking yesterday, and I know Sam has talked about this. He's talking about, we know everything about you and all that. That's like pre-smartphone days. They know nothing about people right now. I mean, I've read many articles about how people make art, recently in the smartphone era, how they actually get sample size, and they know nothing about you. Zero. They have dialers where they dial random numbers, and they don't know anything about you, and they go by what you tell them. And certain pollsters, like Ann Seltzer, will go in with a more organic feel. Other pollsters do still feel like they have, and it makes sense that like you have to have a certain number of younger voters. You have to have a certain number of, every demographic category. And to a degree, you are right that they may be overemphasizing those categories. But their main objective is just to get a sample size to make the poll work, and they have difficulty.
Which is why they're asking about recalled vote, though, John. Which is part of, but I don't. That's been weighted more heavily this cycle, and that's going to favor the Republicans a little bit.
All right. Well,
I don't want to get too into the.
I don't want. Yeah. So, John, you're down on Senate chances. You're up on Democratic House chances by 1. Where are you right now in the presidential race?
Well, let me just go. Let's see. I mean,
you gotta be a little bit quick.
I'm sorry, I bogged down the call.
You guys got deep into the weeds.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's basically, all aggregators have Trump winning Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina.
Do you buy that?
Large. No, I actually think that Harris. I have her up by 0.1 in Arizona. And things are much closer than I would say. I have Trump up 0.3 in Georgia, and Trump up by 1 point in North Carolina. But one thing I will say is that if you look at just objective polls, throw out all the Republican biased polls, Trump actually does better when people adjust for the, I know I've said this a couple of times, but I mean, this is still very much a trend. He is doing better in objective polls than the amount that I'm putting on the adjustment for Republican polls. And so that's what gets me the most concerned, because, if Harris was doing well, she would be up by 2, 3, 4 points in these objective polls like she was after the first debate, and that's just not the case. And so yeah, as far as other states, I mean, I still have Harris winning. It's 0.8 in Pennsylvania, 0.8 in Wisconsin, and she's been doing much better. I have her at 2 points in Michigan, and she's had consistently good polls this week in Michigan. And in let's see, in Nevada, I have her up by 0.2. But I mean, you look at just the objective polls, and Trump is winning in Nevada. And also, Trump is winning right now in 5 out of 7 aggregators. I said this last week. Nothing has changed. And all of those 5 out of the 7 aggregators have Trump winning Pennsylvania. And so... So yeah, I think. So I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying.
I know
what people are saying is going to happen. But I mean, also you look at the actual winning percentages, and they're all between 50 and 54%, which is all of them are coin flip races.
Yep.
And so I mean, for it not to be a close race, Harris would have to be up by 2, 3, 4 points for it not to be a close race, and she hasn't had those leads since after the Trump debate. I mean, and the polls haven't changed since then. They haven't changed their methodology. I'm talking about just objective polls. she has lost ground. In certain states she has gained ground, but basically she's lost ground in every week, and every aggregator has said that. Maybe not every political commentator has said that, but every aggregator has
Here's
said that.
my prediction right now, John, that how many more polls are coming out? We're going to see one more round, right? Before that'll come out at the end of this week. Okay. When you do your 2 week, you move to your 2 week model. I know this now.
Right.
And here's my prediction. Your 2 week model is going to change. There's going to be, we're going to see a bump by a point, somewhere between a half a point and a point and a half in favor of Harris. That's my guess. But we'll find out Tuesday.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
I hope we're right, too. John from San Antonio, your bedside manner could use a little improvement. People are a little bit bummed out.
I'm trying to be honest. I'm still saying Harris is going to win. I mean, I have her winning Arizona plus the four out of the 7 swing states that Biden won.
Well, just say that next time. Yeah, lead with that, John.
Right.
And then you mumble the other part.
Then we don't have to bore people by talking about recalled vote and methodology. And I mean, I like this kind of stuff, but
it's also like, when you come in, the first thing you say is you're going to survive. Then you say, but it's going to be we're going to be doing a lot of surgery, and it could involve some other treatments. That's the way you do it. You don't come in and lead with the dark stuff.
I don't think I led with that.
No, you did. You came in. You're absolutely wrong. Don't give to the Senate. They're going to lose.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean,
okay,
I don't want to lie to people.
No,
I mean, they can win the House.
Right.
They can win the House. I don't think they can win the Senate. I'm sorry. I mean,
we'll see on election night, John.
So far, it's like hopium, copium, and downium, I would say. All right, John. Well, hopefully we'll see you soon.
Okay.
Maybe. All right. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Take care. All right. Bye-bye.
John is not wrong. Harris is going to do worse than John thinks. She's trash human and garbage candidate. Hasn't done shit since the debate. Her campaign gave up on the simple, effective methods that were working for the ticket. I mean, everybody's got an argument. We all got to breathe, everybody. Everybody's got to breathe.
I really, if I'm
John
right
is not
about
wrong.
this,
Downium for the win.
If I'm right about this, I would like apologies.
Oh, there's going to be
fast payout.
There's going to be real reckoning. There's going to be a real reckoning. Everybody knows it. There's going to be a real reckoning. Mm-hmm. All right, folks, we don't have time for any more phone calls.
And if I'm wrong about this, I'll probably have to retire.
I mean, look, we all. People remind me, around this time, we had Professor Sam Wang on, I think it was. I don't know if it was 2 days before, or the day before the election, day of, for that matter. And it was like a 98% chance that Hillary Clinton was going to win. Now, there was probably a 98% chance that she was going to win, but the reason why they don't say 100% is because sometimes the 2% comes in.
Fair enough.
All right. If only Beyonce had performed at that rally.
Do you remember the first ad read after Trump won, Sam?
Oh, my God. What was it?
It might be a fun thing to go back and revisit, because the copy said something to do with, like, you can always do a do-over.
I don't remember what it was.
Wouldn't it be nice?
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.